Sorry, I just woke Bill up. Poor thing is trying to sleep off an anesthetic. Hi to all you lovely ones that are here. How are you doing? And a very good evening. Hi, hi, Robin. Hi, Amy. Hi, Dawn. I know there's some other people going to jump over shortly, but as ever, it's really great that you're here, and I'm very grateful. So, just keeping a little eye on Bill. How have you been today? It's been an interesting day for me. If you've seen my stories, you'll know that well, it's been a very full-on day with some Bill stuff happening, but also quite a lot of abuse going on in the old on the old TikTok and Instagram, all about the footpath reel I put up about the electric fence. So very interesting to see that kind of back and forth and a little bit of rudeness and aggression. Yeah, the farmer drama. And I've tried to be very civil and polite, which of course you must be if you want to try and work these things out. But really, just gonna sip my tea and try not to swear back at them. I was very polite. A couple of people were really good once I tried to say, well, I'm coming from kind of this perspective. I understand your perspective. And they were very nice about things, warmed up a little bit, but some people were just very angry. The farmers, male farmers particularly, are very angry and just saying very rude, nasty things. I don't quite know how you get past that. However, that was one thing that I was wrangling with today, and I kind of thought I'd tackle. And another thing was I took Sweet Bill in for his neutering surgery. And when I dropped him off, I love my vets. They're super, super wonderful vets. They're really kind and great. And I trust them completely. When I dropped him off, they said, "Oh, we might do some bloods on him because he's maybe we don't need to. What do you think? Would you like to? It's X amount of pounds, and just want to check that his levels are all okay. But he should be because he's so young and he's so healthy." And I said, "Well, you see what you think is best." So I was very nervous to leave him, and I felt a little emotional leaving him for surgery. Said goodbye. I was kind of worried. Um, got a phone call an hour and a half later when I was in the chiropractor, and the message was, "We can't do the surgery today. We had to postpone it because his sugar levels are very low, very unusual for a dog, his age and his healthiness, and also his kidney levels are elevated. Two markers are strangely elevated. We didn't expect to see that, so we're a bit worried. We'll have to give him a couple of hours. We've tried to feed him, so the surgery's off because to get his glucose levels up. What have you been feeding him?" So I explained some of the things I've been feeding him, feeling like I am the worst. What, I can't look after a dog. I'm the worst dog mum ever. My dog is poorly, and it's all my fault. This was going through my head. What on earth could be wrong with him? How have I mistreated him without realizing it? So worried about him. And they said, "Oh well, we'll do another P test. Like if we get him to do a P test in the next 2 hours, we'll know how to make a plan going forward. But we can't put him under anaesthetic today. It doesn't feel safe." So my heart was in my throat. Was really beating myself up. And then I got another phone call from them about an hour and a bit later, maybe not even that, saying, "Hi, it's the vet again. Just like to give you some good news, which is and a confession, which is in the laboratory, your blood's got mixed around with a different dog this morning, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with Bill, and he's completely fine, and all his levels are perfect as we would expect, and his blood sugar is perfect, and his kidneys are perfect." So I burst into tears and had a bit of a sob. I wasn't cross with them. These things happen. We every single one of us, we're only humans doing the best we can with really busy lives and a really stressful period of history. So I didn't cry because I was cross, but just the stress of everything else, and then worrying that somehow my dog was in peril because of something. Thanks, Helen. I'll tell you about them in a minute. Yeah, so Bill is all right, but it's been a roller coaster of a day. I've been pulling out some of my gear so I can show you. I'm excited to show you some gear. So these cushions, I always say I'm going to talk about one particular thing in these lives, and I end up like loving the comments and the chats, even if there's just a small group of us. It's so lovely to do this every Thursday and to chat to you and say, "Hi, how's your week?" So feel free to really ping stuff in the comments. I will reply, chat, tell me how you're doing. This is fabric from I was in San Francisco visiting my sister who lived there for a good few years. I've been riding trains around the States because I love trains. And I saw this fabric in the window of a really lovely, quite a fancy, weird fabric milliners that was going, it was closing down like an really old milliners. And I saw it in the windows like an offcut, and I thought, oh my gosh, I love these beetles. I love, love, love the beetles. Look how cool they are. And I love neon, so there's a lot of neon going on these guys. And I bought the fabric, and because I was traveling with like one bag around the US on like the California Zephyr train from coast to coast, which takes 4 days, and then the Pacific Starlight Express, which goes from on the west coast all the way up to Seattle from in California. That's an Art Deco train. I'm a real train geek on the sly. I freaking love trains. So because I was traveling on these trains, I didn't have room for all these extra little bits and bobs I'd bought. So I said to my sister, can I leave the fabric at your house? It's just a little bit folded up. No problem. And then I promptly forgot about it. ADHD. Hi, that was a great idea. I'm going to make something with that and then never see it again. And then a few years ago, my sister presented me with these because she is so talented at everything creative and everything else as well, being like representing Great Britain in sailing for most of her life. And she found some lovely fabric for the back and made these cushions for me with this lovely piping. Anyway, that's the story of the cushions. So they go everywhere with me, even to the caravan of dreams. So, yeah, there we are. Bill drama, but not how peaceful it is here in the caravan. I'm looking out cows, green fields, tractor, farmyard there, which I'm not showing you because it's not that you need glamour, but it's it's a dusty old show out there. So, kit for the footpaths. Now, I have been reticent to talk about kit, I guess, on any of my channels because there's something of the imposter there used to be something of the imposter syndrome. No more. I can talk from my perspective about kit until the cows come home because I have tried loads of different kit. I've been lucky enough to be able to buy kit when I needed to. I've also bought secondhand kit when I could. Secondhand kit from eBay, etc. When I couldn't afford to. I bought nice cheap gear from Trago Mills, that kept me dry. So I have a range of kit and a range of experience about kit. So I'll talk to you about the footpath hike. So to bear in mind for what was in my pack for this particular potentially 3 week thing, or 3 or 4 week. Number one, it's not like being on a long trail in the US, for example, or anywhere else, because by the nature of the UK and particularly Cornwall and where I was going, every day I would be going past a shop if I needed to. Every day I would be going past a tap if I needed to. Therefore, speaking of taps, I'm trying to find my water filter. It's in there somewhere. I'm not going to talk about how I used a water filter because I specifically didn't use a water filter on this trip. So I didn't need to pack huge amounts of food in my food bag. I didn't need to plan resupplying anywhere because there was always somewhere to buy food and fresh food, which is heavier, but if you're not going to be walking for days and days and days, if you're just going to eat your apple as you're walking, you can weight-wise afford to carry fresh food. So food wasn't an issue. I did take a couple of extra things just in case. I'll show you those in a second. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the terrain is pathways, footpaths. I didn't need really great, particularly amazing hiking boots. I could hike in my trail runners, which I always do. And I didn't need any really cold weather gear, although I took a little bit for night times because it's reasonably mild currently here in Cornwall. So it's not the same kit setup that I would have if I did the Tour du Mont Blanc or when I do that in September. It's not the same kit setup for the AT or my CDT section, or even for the whole Southwest Coast Path. It's tailored down a little bit because I needed less. So that's what I'm going to show you today, some bits and bobs from that kit. I think if this stuff is useful and if you have questions, I'm going to put together different pack lists. I'm going to put together recommendation lists. I'll make a few videos for YouTube about shoes, socks, feet, foot care, personal hygiene, all of that stuff, if that would be useful. First off, my pack. So this is my pack. I've got two exactly the same. They are Gossamer Gear 60-litre packs, and the 60 litres, when you see it on advertisements, on adverts, that means everything that you can put in 60 litres. So it's not just the central pocket. It includes the capacity that this stretchy bit can hold on the front. It includes these side pockets. It doesn't include the things you can add on yourself on the strap, such as these. But so the 60 litres is not just the interior through the neck in the main body. Now, I'm trying to push this back a little bit so I have a bit more space. And this silly influencer light thing, so that I'm not just dimly lit with 80s caravan lighting. So bear with me, I'm just getting a bit more tea. Bill's all right. Snoozing, there's a little baby grow. Okay, so I love this pack. I have no affiliation, like I'm not sponsored by Gossamer Gear or anything like that. And I've tried different packs, and different packs are good in different ways. But for me, this works really well. First of all, it's short. It's a short-bodied pack, as you can see here. You can get them longer, you buy them in different sizes. They get you to measure, and they show you on their website how you measure the packs, which is really useful. So it is light. Now, I'm an overpacker anyway. I'm a chronic overpacker. I always think, oh, shove that in at the end, or maybe I'm going to need this. It's just part of my nature. I find it really hard. Hello, Pete. Pete's got his chips. He said he was going to get his chips and come in. Nice to see you, Pete. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, I like to keep it light, because if I'm going to overpack it, at least I'm doing it in a light backpack. So you've got your Gregory packs and you've got your Osprey packs, all which are really nice packs and really good quality packs. You know, Osprey particularly replace stuff for years and, you know, ongoing. If something fails, or they'll mend it for you. These, but they're heavy. They carry weight with them. They're extra weight, which I don't need at the moment in my life, especially with back pain or chronic pain. I want to try and keep it light. Plus, there is a limit that these lighter packs can carry. So I will get to the point where I am reaching the pack's limitations, and that's like an enforced barrier of you can't put any more shit in there, girl. So if I had a Gregory or an Osprey or something similar, I could probably ram pretty much anything I wanted in it and carry on. So let me talk you through some features real quick. As over time, as I get better at doing these, I'm sure I'll have a proper setup that's not a caravan, but you know, got to be near Bill. Couldn't go down to the office tonight. Love the dog. So you've got this front stretchy pouch, which can go a really long way out, but because it's a short pack, can end up making you look like a genuine bowling ball, because it just turns into a big lump on your back. I use this for things that I need when I'm on trail, like when you're on a really long trail, or any trail really, and you've got your like poop shovel and your toiletry bag for when you dig big deep holes, if you ever need to go to the bathroom and you're far out from anywhere else and you need to make it safe and look after the environment. So keep that in the front so it's easy to access should you need it. I'm very comfortable talking about bringing up those topics without being embarrassed about them all. Same with periods, peeing on trail, personal hygiene. It's not because I am an extrovert and love talking about what we might consider to be embarrassing topics. Potentially before I did the Appalachian Trail, I might have found it more awkward to ask questions like that or talk about those kinds of topics or even mention them so casually. But when you've lived in the woods for 6 months with a group of people, you just really learn that there's just bodies and bodily functions and what bodies do, and whatever your body does, you need to make sure that it does so in a way that respects the nature around you and leaves everything as it was for those who come after you, and especially the wildlife and the animals. So I'm very comfortable talking about that stuff. The main thing this was brilliant for, apart from keeping that stuff and maybe a little bit of first aid kit stuff in the front, was if you did trail washing with something like Dr. Bronner's soap. I should grab that from the bathroom. I use it all the time. It's brilliant. Dr. Bronner's is safe for waterways. So you don't take your Pantene minis or your LV, whatever it is. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's Maybelline. I don't think they make shampoo. But you don't take your nice fancy soaps on trail and use them in rivers or streams to wash your knickers out or wash your socks, because those pollute the waterways and they have toxins and chemicals in them that can damage the pH of the water, especially a lake. You know, you go to a beautiful place in the Alps and you go to an alpine lake, in your own little tiny slice of alpine lake, you go down to the lake shore and you think, oh, I really need to wash my socks. Scrub, 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 wash my socks. But actually what you're doing, if you're using suds that don't work in that environment, is that you're changing the pH balance of the water and you're putting chemicals in that don't come from there. Dr. Bronner's is pretty much brilliant for not doing that. You can brush your teeth with it. I wouldn't recommend it, but on the label it tells you everything you can do with it. It's so safe and natural. Other brands also exist, but I like Bronner's. So when you've washed your pants and your cacks and your socks or whatever, I have safety pins and I would pin them to this outside sleeve, or I'd tuck them inside the mesh so that as you hike in the sunshine, they dry through the day. So you put your clean knickers on, you wash your knickers in a stream in the morning, downstream where no one's going to try to collect water below you to filter to drink. Always way down. And then you hang them on here. And by the time it gets to the evening, you got yourself some clean, dry, fresh cacks. So that's great. Side pocket, two side pockets on this side. So I keep my water filter in the top with a snack bar or two. And down here, I usually put my 2 water bottles side by side. And I often use a Nalgene these days, which has a really wide neck. I've got my Nalgene here close by. Yes, hold on. So I also use a smart water bottle because the Sawyer filters screw into the top of the smart water bottles really easily. And then you would have both. I've used smart water bottles for a really long time, the same plastic bottle for weeks and weeks and weeks on trail. And then you use your Canuck or any bag where you'd scoop water out of a stream and you'd roll that down through the filter into the bottle and you'd have your bottles of water on the side. I couldn't find my filter earlier because I'm in the caravan. I've only got 1 hike's worth of gear with me. All my big boxes of stuff are in the attic while I'm not in the house. And I'll do a more in-depth gear review of that kind of stuff later. So a Nalgene, that's what these are. Thicker plastic. Yes, they are ounces heavier than an Evian or a smart water bottle that you buy in a gas station. Yes, you can't pick it up in a gas station or a corner shop as you're walking through a town. The reason that these are good are they are thick, so you can use them when you're cold at night. So what I often do is I fill it up and filter water into it in the night. I have another one with water in case I'm thirsty in the night. And then I will put this water in my pot, heat it, boil it at night, pour it back inside, and then use it as a hot water bottle in my tent at night. And in the morning, you can just drink it as water for the day because it's cooled off and it's boiled water. Also, it doesn't have BPAs that leach out of the plastic Nalgene, so that if you put hot substances in it, it doesn't cause BPAs to leak out or to come into the water. I'm not sure of the scientific way that happens. Also, wide neck. Look at that. So if you want to pour in your powders or your potions, if you've got what do you call them? Electrolytes, lots of different brands of electrolytes, your Noon tablets, whatever it might be, you can just shove them in the top. Or if you're hiking a long way and you don't have the time to, what's I going to say? Just read a comment and it just went straight out. Oh yeah, chia seeds. So if you're walking a long way and you want to get the most bang for good quality minerals and vitamins and things that are good for you and energy in slow release form, a good bang for your buck is a bag of chia seeds. And if you put chia seeds in water with a Noon tablet or with whatever electrolyte tablet you want, the chia seeds will act like a lava lamp and they'll kind of swell and rise to the surface and move around and look quite freaky in your bottle for a while, and then they'll settle into a clump at the bottom, which looks gross, but it's fine. And you just shake your chia lava lamp and you drink them, and they're it's like they have obviously a texture as you're drinking the water with the slightly swollen chia seeds inside, but it's not unpleasant. And what it does is it gives you huge amounts of energy if you're doing big mileage days where you don't have to keep stopping and eating tons of snacks, because the chia seeds themselves will really keep you full and give you energy, slow release energy. Just another little tip I picked up from Avery on the trail on the AT. Smart dude, Avery. Also, this one might be a bit gross for you guys, but whatever. Wide neck, mind you, I've got good aim, but wide neck means that you can pee in it in the night. Yeah, I said it. So you can pee in an Nalgene because sometimes if it's pouring with rain, if it's freezing cold outside your tent, if you don't feel safe for whatever reason, but you are busting for a pee, if you got to go, you got to go. And if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and it's like -1 outside your tent and you don't want to go outside your tent and get your feet wet and cold in the snow or the sleet or the rain and then try and come back in your tent and warm up, then you just pee in this. And if it's really cold, you pee in this. You keep the pee because it's hot. Slide that in your hot water bottle, tent thing, and that keeps you warm. Yeah, you slide that in your sleeping bag, and it is your hot water bottle, is what I meant. I was getting too smart asking for my own good then, wasn't I? Yeah, so loads of tips for that. Nalgene's are great. Ultralight people might tell you you're an idiot because it weighs too much, but you know, you do you. Right. That's where the water bottles go. Okay, yeah, in there. So top tip for when you're trying to pick a rucksack, but when you try it on in the shop, you might buy it online. When it comes and you try it and you don't want to send it back, or if you're going to send it back, put your rucksack on, adjust all the straps, and then have a couple of water bottles. Figure out where you want to keep them on your person, on your backpack. If you're hiking for a day or two, even a day hike, you don't want to keep taking off your pack every time you want water. So you need to be able to reach and get your water. A lot of people try on the pack and put the water bottle. Oh, I can reach the pocket without any weight in the pack. You need to put a couple of bricks in the pack, a couple of heavy books in the pack, because it will move the pack on your body. And then suddenly, with a full pack and it expands backwards, you'll find that you can't reach that water anymore. And then you have to take your pack off every time to reach it. That's not going to work for you. Some people like bladders that they put in the back. There's often in some packs a pouch here between the pack itself and the back part. But I don't like bladders and wouldn't use one because I'm clumsy and I might somehow pop it or snag it or nick it and it would release water all through my pack, which I don't need that shit. I have enough of my own personal tornado of chaos without having that as well. And then it's easy. It looks easy because you have a pipe that comes down the side and you attach it to the side of your pack. So therefore you can just sip water whenever you want. That's great. Apart from if you're doing a long distance hike, that pipe's going to get real minging real quick and you might pick up some weird bugs. It might taste disgusting. You have to remember to get your what's it called, that stuff they use, Milton for babies. Yeah, you have to remember to put Milton in it every now and then to clean it out to keep yourself bug free. Stick with the water bottles. That's what I do. So on the other side you have one long pouch, and that long pouch I use for these guys. So I don't put my whole tent and poles and everything inside my pack. This is all the poles for my tent all in one. Took it out of its fancy bag because don't need it in a fancy bag. Have a little elastic band that came around some daffodils around it. And that goes in one of the things that goes in my side pocket like that. Easy access to those, and I know that they're there. And then I will have all of my I have light pegs, really light titanium pegs, and I will put a little carabiner on the bag that holds all of those pegs and clip it to here. You can see the little tags all over the front of this, and then put the pegs down in there so that if the cable that the little bag is on gets snagged by a tree or a branch as I'm walking past something and pulls them out, it doesn't leave them on the floor, that this carabined to my pack so I don't lose them forever. When you've lost as many things as me, you think about all of these things. And so that's the three main outside pouches along with this stretchy bit on the front. And then the straps that go around your hips, your hip belt, and I have a post on my Instagram and a blog article about how to really choose a good pack for yourself and how you can, the different things you need to look out for when you're choosing a pack. I'm aware I'm spending a long time on a pack, just one pack, talking about it. It's probably boring as shit, but I love it. And if you're here, maybe it's not boring. Yeah, these pouches are really good. And inside those, I have things like, this has been with me since the beginning of the Appalachian Trail, and it's bandaged up now to make sure that I don't lose it. Inside there, I've got dental floss, which I use to sew up my shoes when they fall apart on trail, and needles and glue, seam sealer in case my tent splits anywhere, all in the center there, a little paintbrush to paint the seam sealer on any of the seams of my tent if it rains and suddenly I'm getting dripped on. I've got emergency gorilla patches to patch over rips in my puffy jacket or my tent or my sleeping bag or my rain jacket, just little patches that you can slap on to keep you going for a while. So something like that, and a couple of safety pins, all in just wrapped up in this one tatty old container. So you don't need anything fancy, you just need a few little bits that keep you going when time gets tough. People ask me about first aid kit. I should probably take more of a first aid kit, but actually I have like an antiseptic cream, little one, and gaffer tape, and that is pretty much it. Oh, and some butterfly strips. Do you call them steri strips to keep wounds closed? And the dental floss to sew anything terrible up. Because I tried to pack really like delicate, thoughtful first aid kits when I was on trail especially when I went to go and do the 18, I wasn't so experienced. And people would say to me, and doctor friends said to me, it's either really bad or it's not that bad. So if it's not that bad, you just tape it up with gaffer tape until you can get to somewhere where you can sort it out. Or if it's really bad, then you've got like dental floss to sew some shit together and gaffer tape onto, to get you to wherever you need to be. You don't need every iteration of every possible thing that could go wrong. So I basically have antihistamines in case I'm really horribly allergic to something, some strong painkillers, and if you know me, you know that I've always got some codeine stashed somewhere because of my chronic pain. And some ibuprofen that has a little bit of like sleepy stuff in it, so a little bit of antihistamine stuff in there. And yeah, gaffer tape. And the gaffer tape, I don't take a roll of gaffer tape anywhere. Initially, I was like, oh, I should put this big roll of gaffer tape in my bag. Rubbish. So what I do these days and have done for a long time is to get the gaffer tape and wrap it around my poles. One big load around the top of one pole, one big load around the other pole. So you've got that on your pole, you take off, put it on your, whatever it is, your sleeping bag, put it across a big hole in your pack where barbed wire sliced it open, anything to get you home safely, basically, or to get you to the next place you need to be safely. So that's that. Side pockets, top pocket. Top pocket usually had emergency batteries and whatnot in it. What's it got in it now? These are my emergency. Is it going to be cold on trail? I wore these basically plastered all over me through the winter on the AT and a bit on the beginning of the CDT because it was freezing. Not very good for the environment, so I'm a bit leery of them now because you just shake them, they keep you hot for 3 or 4 or 12 hours and then throw them away. Foil blanket, just in case. It's quite light. I don't know that I'd compromise and not ever take a foil blanket because actually I don't take it thinking about myself. I take it thinking about whether you see somebody else on trail who might need it. If you don't know what a foil blanket's for, it's just to reflect heat back in on somebody if they have had an injury and are not able to move and are having to wait to be rescued off the trail, hypothermic, caught in the rain, fallen in a river, whatever it might be, it keeps people warm and can be the difference between life and death when you're waiting for someone to come and rescue you. So it's super light. I think this one came from McSalvers in Redruth, just like a buy anything you can think of store, tools and work people's gear. So yeah, you can pick them up anywhere. That was £1.50. And it could save a life. Oh, and this isn't my real one, but it is part of the towel that made the pee rag. Sorry, everyone. Just gotten into the backpack bit now. I'm just loving this. So, pee rag. Never get your pee. If you're a man, you don't have to think about this. Never get your pee rag and your sweat brow rag mixed up. Well, you can. I mean, when you've been in the woods for like 2 weeks at a time, doesn't really make much difference, to be honest. On one side, I would have a pee rag tied, and on the other side, you'd have like a bandana for the sweat because you sweat so much in the heat hiking in longer trails that you need it for like, well, hi, Layla, thank you so much for coming in. That's so lovely. So, a pee rag is what you think it is. It's basically toilet paper for weeing. So, you can pee and not use it, fine. Just shake and go, whatever. But if you want to remain reasonably kind of hygienic, sometimes these things are pretty good because you can wash them regularly in a stream. It's just like an old absorbent travel towel, good quality fabric. And if you have it attached to your pack and then you flick it over the back like this, the UV rays of the sun on warm days, or any days really, will help to sterilize it, will help to keep it clean. It doesn't smell, they're not gross. And now a company called Cooler makes similar things in the US called Cooler cloths, which are square pieces of absorbent hygienic fabric that just do the same thing. They just hang off women's packs and make the experience a bit better. So if you see that, don't be weirded out by it because, we're all just trying to live out here. But don't walk up to someone, even if you're friends with them and you don't know what it is, and goes, "Oh, it's sweaty out here, isn't it?" and borrow their bandana or sneeze on it. It just might be weird. You never know which one you're going to get. Okay, so the back of this pack, we're still not finished with the pack. I love because although it's not built with a big frame like some of those others I talked about, which holds the back of the pack away from your back as you're hiking. You know, the ones that have like the bowed structure that help air circulate around your back so you're not sweating the whole time in the heat. That's fine and great, but I don't need a really solid big frame in my pack. I've literally got a teeny tiny lightweight frame, just like an outline of a frame, just wire that goes around here, nothing in the middle. And this, which I don't use for this purpose, is a built-in sit mat. So you can take that out of the back. It's this corrugated, did we say that? Eggshelly, so that it does allow some airflow, but also it's nice to sit on a stony floor or whatnot. But you have to take it out and then insert it between these two back elastic bits every time you want to use it. So I don't have time for that. So it's lovely and it keeps my back nice and safe and good. But I have one of these, which I also tuck in the side where my tent poles would be. And this is a Nemo Fancy Sit Mat. Bollocks to that, you don't need it. You could just get a piece of an old yoga mat and cut it up and make yourself a little sit pad to take with you. So this folds up, you just sit your butt on it. And it's actually, seems like a luxury. I wouldn't need that. The amount of times you have to sit on all kinds of ground. Oh, look, there's a tree stump I can sit on. Oh, it's covered in sap. Oh, my trousers are going to get covered in sap, and then it's going to stick to dirt and pine needles and bugs, and it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to get on the inside of my tent. Or it's really muddy, or it's really rocky, and I want to sit down for more than 2 minutes, and that's going to hurt my butt. Perfect. Don't spend loads of money though. Just get an old yoga mat, like I said, cut it up and use it as your sit mat. I don't know why I bought this. Maybe someone gave it to me. Maybe I got it out of a hiker box, actually. I'm not sure. Did have a really nice just bit of old yoga mat. Hooray. So inside the pack, in this pack, it's long. Look how long the pack is when you open up the neck. Super long. So on a resupply, when I go into town, the pack's probably that high as the frame, just like that. And then when I fill it up with my food bag, my dry bag, like maybe this one, full to the brim of food, snacks, food, cheese, love cheese, butter sticks, pasta, baked, tuna go, whatever it might be. Suddenly your pack, you can't close the lid anymore, which is why the neck is huge. All you need to do is clip it at the top and fold it over slightly, and then these straps extend really long so that you can just make the pack as long as you need to pack stuff up this funnel neck. It will still close over at the top and you can connect it. And you could put a bear canister in here. Do you want me to show you a bear canister? That's in the room there. It's no problem. But you can also strap your big bear canister across here if you're in bear country and you must keep your food in your bear canister at all times so that they can't smell it or pour it to pieces. Or you can just put your sleeping mat across if you don't have an inflatable. So, for example, here's a folded sleep mat. This sleep mat. I don't mind this sleep mat. It's really bobbly. So I bought myself a really lovely Thermarest version of these, not super pricey, not like the air mats. And I bought it and had it one day last summer, and I was so excited to have it because of COVID. No one had loads of gear was not available in the US. I thought, frig, I really need a nice foam pad. I didn't want to sleep on an inflatable pad anymore. It was driving me nuts. I couldn't sleep on it. So I bought a nice Thermarest one, went to Alaska, flew to Anchorage. I didn't fly, did I? I took the ferry for 3 or 4 nights to Anchorage, and I had my mat with me. Went into a library in Anchorage on the outskirts of the city to figure out where I go next, how do I get to Denali on my own? Do I hire a car and drive in Alaska? I'm not sure I want to do that. What's next? Where do I stay? I find somewhere to stay for the night. Just winging it, And then there was this man who came up to me and he said, "That looks nice," in the library cafe. And I said, "Oh yeah, it's a sleep mat. It's a new Thermarest sleep mat." And he said, "Oh, it looks great. I haven't seen one like that before." And I said, "Oh, have a look." Just like a hiker who's friends with everyone. Have a look. So he had a look at it and he said, "Thank you so much." I said, "Well, it's not that expensive really compared to other hiking gear. It's like maybe $30, which is quite good for Thermarest." And he went, He said, "Thanks, ma'am." But maybe he was in his 40s, so polite. And he said, "Thanks, ma'am, but I'm a homeless gentleman, so those are things that are a bit beyond me. But it's really nice to know that kind of thing exists." And I went, "Oh." He went, "Good day," and went to turn around and go back into the library. And I said, "Oh, have it." He was like, "What?" And I said, "Just take it. You need it more than I need it. Please take it. Have it. And he was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Oh my gosh, yes." So I gave him my mat, and he was so happy. And I went upstairs to do some writing, and I looked down the stairwell to see if the cafe was still open, and he was sitting in the cafe. He didn't know I was there above, going, he was loving that sleep mat so much. And so I didn't have a sleep mat then. So I bought this crap one, which is why it's crap. It's not terrible. It's Ozark Trail. It's not a bad brand and it's fairly comfy, but it's not the comfiest. However, I would always recommend one of these anyway. This would go then on top of all of your stuff in your pack, and you just clip your pack around it like so. Doesn't matter if stuff's on the outside of your pack, as long as it's not jiggle jiggle, you know, as Louis Theroux might say. As long as it doesn't jiggle jiggle and it folds, we're right on. Now, my friend Andy in Wales, who used to be in the PT in the RAF and now leads outdoor expert, he would say any admin like is like a forces term for stuff you've got to do or things that are going on. I think any admin on the outside of your pack that makes a noise is not admin, it's badmin. So if you've got a cup on the outside of your pack, you're like a tin cup that you drink out of by the campfire, and it's going rattle, 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 rattle as you walk, badmin. And he bollocked me for it. And I'm very grateful for that. So I never have any badmin on the outside of my pack. But things like this, I think, are totally fine. Strap on the back of your pack. It makes perfect sense. And actually, it makes you look like a through hiker too, which is very cool. I think that's the pack. One more thing about the pack, which is nothing is ever waterproof. No, it is not. No matter how much money you think you want to spend on a really fancy Gore-Tex jacket or the most amazing seam sealed, closed sealed, waterproof setup, it ain't waterproof. You're either going to sweat so much inside of it that everything's going to get wet because you sweated so much because it is so like a bin bag, or water's going to get in. Water gets in. Believe me. Water gets in through the neck, up your sleeve. When you try and do something, reach up, it goes back down here. Right. So forget trying to think you're going to be totally waterproof. Just like clothing isn't waterproof, packs are not waterproof, even if they say that they are. And all of your stuff that's in your pack is the most important stuff you're carrying if you're hiking, whether it's for one day and a night or if it's for 6 months. Do not get your sleeping bag wet or your night clothes wet, because you will be miserable as shit. So you can use a trash compactor bag, like a really thick bin bag, a rubble sack from B&Q or wherever else you buy your rubble sacks, or you can have something like this, which is super light, super sturdy. Well, it's supposed to be sturdy. No, not so sturdy, is it? Mind you, it has come a very long way. And that goes inside your pack. So any form of pack liner will give you much more reassurance that your gear is safe and dry if the rest of your pack gets wet. So seriously, you can just use a bin bag if you need to. You don't have to spend money. But don't forget to do that, because you never know when it's going to tip it down. And then all of your electronics are fucked. Can I swear? Yeah, it's my channel. I can swear on here. That's all cool. What should we do next? So, tent. Can't take the tent out, but I'll show you it. You've seen the poles. This is the tent. These are my pegs. So had a few more pegs than usual because it was windy when I was on the footpath. So I needed the extra peg to tag out the long stays on the tent so it didn't blow away. This is it. This is the whole thing. This is a 2-person tent. I used to say 2-man tent. Sorry, men. It's a 2-person tent, and in here is the inner of the tent and the innie and the outie. And then also is a ground sheet that's a bit crap and permeable. It's a really nice ground sheet, but it's just I haven't re-waterproofed it for ages, and so therefore I've also got just a really thin piece of almost like cling film thin plastic that I put underneath the ground sheet to stop damp and dew coming up into the tent through the ground sheet that isn't that waterproof. By the very nature of this being a super light tent, it's made by Big Agnes. Oh, it's my favorite. I've got 2 of these tents, and I've tried other tents. I do like Gossamer Gear. I like Gossamer Gear's The One tent. Also super light, and with that you have no poles. You just use your hiking poles. 2 hiking poles, one at the front, one at the back, and then you stake out the rest with the stays and the stakes. It's really nice. It's a little small. For me, I like to have a bit of room. I like a two-person tent, and this is an amazing tent because it has two entrances or two exits. So, you can stuff all your shoes and your bag and whatever in one little outsidey bit, and then you can uh, enter and exit through the other. Or if there's two of you in the tent, then you each have your own entrance and exit. My boyfriend and I stayed in here for a few nights, but it is very small and he was very tall. So a two-person tent is usually, I think, for one person, and a three-person tent is good for a couple or two people. So inside here, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to take it all out today. It's small and light and brilliant, and I stuff that inside my pack. And sometimes when I'm really in the flow and I've been hiking for quite a few weeks, I will just take it out of its bag and just stuff it all in the bottom, all loosey goosey. The often you think you have to have everything in its own stuff sack or zip pouch, all compartmentalized inside your pack, inside here. So I'm like, oh, everything's in its own little area, everything is zipped in its own little bag so I can find everything easily. Kind of all that does is makes it really hard to pack in a compact, neat way, because you're putting things in things that then have a fixed shape. So then you're doing a bit of Tetris, like I've got to have that fixed shape slide next to that flat fixed shape, and then that clothes bag has become this sausage shape. Does it go in here? Will it fit in sideways? So actually, if you take most things out of these, which feels a little bit, if you're a bit anal, feels a little bit like, oh my God, where's everything going to be? You've only got a small pack, so it'll be in there somewhere, and you can layer it. In the end, you know how to find something in your pack just by dipping your hand in and going, and then you can pull out the thing you want. It becomes like part of you. So yeah, often I just take all this out and stuff it in as it is, except for when it's wet. And then I have, usually in the side of my pack somewhere else, carrier bag, any kind of bag, doesn't matter, any supermarket will work, where I put the outer of my tent inside here because it's soaking wet. You don't want it anywhere near the inside of your backpack. And then when it starts to dry off, you can just tie it to the outside of your pack. As you walk, it will dry and flap off, and then you can wrap it up and stuff it in the rest of your tent bag. Constant maintenance, really, just a little bit of thinking about how can I make that bit a bit easier? How can I dry this off? How can I, there's a stream, I can wash my socks. So you can have that fold up sleep mat. You can have something like this. I love this. This isn't what I travelled the AT or the CDT with. This is a Nemo. It's bigger and slightly, maybe another ounce, than what I was travelling with, which is the Thermarest Neolight Air. Thermarest. Thermarest, I love your products. Your mats are light, lovely, loud. They are loud. They crinkle very loudly when you move around on a Thermarest mat. Everybody who's got them in camps, you can hear everybody every time you even like think about moving your shoulders around, because they've got lots of aluminium-y reflective coils inside, very light, but they reflect and move the heat around inside the mat, so that keeps from leaching all of your body heat out into the soil. But this is square, rectangular, not so square corners rather than a mummy shape. So it makes me feel a bit more secure sleeping. Plus, I paid for all this gear, right? I paid for my Thermarest. Obviously, like it wasn't given to me as for free, which everyone seems to think I get all my stuff for free. Some people do. I don't. I bought both those Thermarest mats. Both of them leaked. Both of them. CDT one, well, the one last year really quickly started to leak, and I would wake up in the middle of the night on the floor and have to blow it up again, sink to the floor. And then my first one leaked over the Appalachian Trail. By about month 4, it was leaking every night. So I carried on, but I just pumped it up twice every night. And also, if you're camping in the cold and you just have an air mat, you're going to get really, really cold, because you cannot compete with the cold earth meeting your body heat and leaching it out, especially through air and fabric. So what I would recommend that you do, and what I took with me even for this hike, camping out, is one of these mats with silver on one side. So that silver will reflect back up the heat that is coming from your body and coming through this mat, this air mat, so it doesn't get leached out by the earth. It's bounced a little bit back up by the silver reflectiveness on this mat, which will keep you much warmer in your bed. And any weight that you carry by bringing this along can be offset by the fact that you don't bring 3 jumpers to wear in bed at night. because you're cold. Right. Inside your sleeping bag or quilt, whichever you have, firstly, you might have a liner. This is a liner, but it's a really big, thick, woolly, fleecy liner that goes inside. But actually, I get inside this quilt, this liner, before I put my quilt over the top. But this is heavy duty. You don't need to carry something like this. It's not heavy because it's just made from fleece material, and I use it from sitting around camp in the evenings as well. When I get up in the morning, I would open it up and put it around my shoulders, having a cup of coffee. So it's really nice for that. But if you're camping in high shoulder seasons in the summer, you would not need anything like this. The other kind of liner that you could have is, you hear all that noise in the background. This is equally a liner, but it weighs absolutely nothing because it's silk, and it still gives you a little bit of extra warmth inside your sleeping bag or inside your quilt. But what it also does is it's good for hygiene if you're hiking a long way and you don't have time to wash your sleeping bag or your down quilt with proper, like those balls that bounce around, and the proper fabric cleaner, so you make sure that your very expensive bit of kit doesn't get ruined from a washing machine or a dryer. If you use a liner and sleep inside of it, then you just wash the liner normally in the wash whenever you get to a town, whenever having your day off if you're more local hiking a route, and then you're nice and clean, peachy clean again in your sleeping bag, and your sleeping bag does not get as stinky as it would have done otherwise, especially in the summer when you're hiking in the heat, sleeping in the heat. Don't wash every day in the way that you might in real life. You get stinky when you're lying in bed at night for sure, and that really helps. Cooking. This is just a quick one, because I have lots of different cook sets, and they're all in my other boxes because I only chose one cook set to come with me on the footpath. So it's a jet boil. It's an iteration of a jet boil. It's pissed me right off, to be honest with you. So I've got a Msr Whisper Light 2. I've got a traditional jet boil that is the tall, long one. And then I invested in this, bought this when it first came out last year to go on the CDT. And they tried to get real fancy with it. I can't find the lid. The lid's somewhere here. The lid from day one did not fit properly on top of this. So every time you put the plastic lid over the top, it would go boop and come up at the side, boop, open up somewhere. You can't push it down one side without it buckling and popping up on the other side. And for like £150 worth of kit or something like that, I don't think that's cool. I keep meaning to write to them, but luckily for them, my ADHD prohibits me from remembering to do things like that. I wouldn't give them shit. I'm just going to say, is it meant to do this? Now it's too late because I've had it for ages, but is it meant to do that? What am I doing wrong? But jet boil is great because it has these things around the bottom here, which if you have a normal pot with just a normal bottom, like a mini saucepan that would go on a hob, it doesn't have this feature. And this feature has been created so that in any kind of wind, you don't lose the power of the burner. So let me show you this. Oh, they also tried to make it really clever and fancy. So in the lid, there was like a circular ring, which you'd clip that into the lid and it would stay there. And then there was a space underneath where you'd put a tiny lighter in the base of this gas canister. You clip them both up into the lid, and then that would fit on here, but it wouldn't fucking fit, would it? Not even when none of this stuff was in it, just when it was empty and had water in it. And then this burner and this stand would fit inside the bottom of your pot. So you'd have everything all in one. Whereas with other cook sets, you have the pot separately, and then you have the burner separately, and then you have to carry the gas separately. It doesn't all necessarily fit together. This was made to fit together. Lovely concept. For me, no good. So this is one of the things I was most scared of when I was first started camping. I had no idea how you screw this into this, and I kept thinking, I never want to do that because I'm going to explode. Something's going to go wrong, and I'm going to pressurize it. It's going to go boom, but it's fine. So you just screw it on like that, and it goes. Didn't even go. It's quite empty. So there you go. There's your gas canister. And in the UK, it's harder to pick these up when you hike around. In the US and loads of places next to the trails, you can get these all the time. Some people don't like relying on these, and they will use other different types of sources. They will use different fuels that you can find more easily at gas stations. Or some people will use twigs and a base, all sorts of different fuels. I use this at the moment. And then you have this clever little thingamadoodle at the top here. So you open this up like that, and then you have your stand. It's all incredibly light. And then this guy fits on the top in the groove. You see the grooves there? Fits on in the groove. And then you would light it and it would burn. And this would mean that no matter how windy it is, this flame underneath does not waver or get blown out or take very long to make the water heat up. This can boil this whole pot of water in like, they claim it's 60 seconds, but it's a bit more than that, especially when the lid won't fucking stay on. Sorry for swearing. Not sorry. It's very annoying. So yeah, so I would put my food in there, or sometimes I would just boil the water and pour the hot water in the bag of dried food that I had and eat out of the bag, because purely laziness that I don't want to have to clean a pot. If I can take a bag and fold that up, rinse it out, reuse it later, brilliant. It means I don't have to clean out the pot and have cheese stuck inside of it or whatever else. So that's what I used. I might go back to using a different type of cook set. I was very happy with the old-fashioned jet boil for part of the AT. That was quick and easy, and you had a good capacity to fit loads of food in there and crumble crisps on top, which was my favourite thing to do. Spoon. This, I lost my other spork. This is a great kit talk, isn't it? And I lost this, and this is shit. I love all this kit. I'm very lucky to have all this kit. This is a nice Snow Peak spoon spork thing, so you can attach it to something on your pack so it doesn't disappear. But I have a nice titanium long-handled spoon, because when you have stuff like this, I don't usually eat these. These were very nicely given to me. I don't normally buy the packets of stuff like this. And you want to dig in, especially with the taller jet boil. When these short, you just get your hands covered in food trying to dig it out the corners or stir it up. Look, it's not tall enough. Not tall enough. So you need a nice long-handled spork I would recommend to you. Mine is somewhere in the other house. So I was using this one, which my sister bought me. Thank you. This is very good. These are quite nice, by the way. Something to eat. Some of the more tasty people provide. Mountain House, the US brand. They're all right. They're a bit like after a while. These are really nicely made and they're quite tasty. Some of them. They've got a lot of good kind of vitamins and nutrients in them. They make sure of that. European freeze dry, and they sent me a bunch for the West Highland Way last year, and I'm still getting through them. So thank you, Something to Eat. That was nice. They're not watching, they don't know, but I'm telling you that they're quite good. I wish I had all of my stuff here, but actually I don't, because I'd be here for even longer. We'll do more of these because this is fun. So that's some food stuff. Water filter, can't find it. We'll show you that another time. We'll do a demo of a water filter in case you don't know how to use water filters. I don't use water filter on the Southwest Coast Path, and I didn't use it on the footpath because I don't trust runoff from agricultural fields. So although I passed streams and I was thirsty at times, and I should maybe or could have filtered and drunk the water, I feel like places in the US where I've been hiking or high up in alpine ranges or mountain ranges, the water that's coming through streams, yes, an ibex may have died and fallen face first into a stream around the corner, and you'll never know. So you should filter water, even if it looks clean, because you don't know that there's a dead animal, not a dead animal rotting up the road. Even a dead rat or a dead mouse in the stream can make you very, very poorly, and you can never know it's around the corner. Don't mind any of that. Don't mind drinking dead mouse juice. But the agricultural runoff from fields gives me the willies. Toxins, chemicals, pesticides used across the fields, all coming through that soil and then down into the streams and then down to the coast. You can see it running off the fields and into the streams. It doesn't feel right to me to drink it. Don't feel comfortable about it. So I would fill up my bottles and carry extra water between villages as I would hike around, which is fine. Waterproofs. These are super light by Enlightened Equipment, and I'll show you, to finish off in a minute, I'll show you my quilt, which is also from Enlightened Equipment, which I love. These are so light, these waterproofs. They're literally air, because waterproofs can take up a lot of space. You can often feel like you need something substantial to be sensible and keep the rain out. Actually, no, you don't, because you can never really keep all of the rain out. So I have these, and they're great, and I have a jacket that goes with, and you can see how light they are. They don't have any pockets, because they're not for pockets and gadgets and things. They're for when it friggin' rains. And all they do have is under the arm pockets, not pockets, zips, under the arm zips, so that when you're hiking and you're super hot but it's still raining but you're really sweaty and you're waterproof, you can open them under the arm and let some of that steam out like little kettle armpits. And these are fabulous. I love Enlightened equipment. I really, 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 really rate it. It's American made, so it would be hard to get in this country. Worth it though. Yeah. Other things that they've done that I also have are these. So little thermal mittens for the winter. So light. So it's enlightened equipment. Obviously, the pun is that they're really light, but they're also like enlightened, man. Lovely cottage gear industry. Look, mittens, so warm. Lap. I need my fingers. Oh, I need my fingers to be warm. Oh, I need my fingers again. Sorry, Bill. Don't worry. Absolutely love them. And then I've got waterproof mitten covers in this material that just slide over the top of them. Excessive, I know. Bill, sweetheart, you stay there. You're all right. He's really freaked out by having had the anaesthetic. Also, these booties, down booties for the winter when they're so light too, like there. But you wear them in the tent when it's cold at night to keep your feet warm. It's better than socks. You can also get really light down trousers to wear in the evening when it's freezing cold if you're hiking in the winter. Lots of cuteness, lots of other things for another time. And if you don't get the overcovers, these sealskin waterproof gloves are actually really cool. You can still do your phone touch GPS app stuff with the finger thingy, but if it rains for days on end, or if it rains from like morning till nighttime, your hands get pruny, cold, horrible. Everything feels horrible, and you're pretty much at the mercy of the elements when you're hiking in your hands, because you have your hands on poles potentially all day long in the elements with the wind biting and the rain hurting or hail hurting. So these are actually really brilliant. They keep you warm and waterproof. Sealskin waterproof gloves. Not sponsored. And the last thing, oh my god, it's like a little joyful little shop full of cool hiking stuff. So much more stuff to show you, but not now. Getting carried away. This might be the favourite thing I own. No, my umbrella. I left my umbrella in the morning next to the toilet shed at that farm. I know exactly where I left it. I put it down and went, Gail, do not forget this umbrella. My umbrella is silver umbrella for like rain and for sunshine, and I had it for the whole AT, CDT, Southwest Coast Path, and I left it there by the toilet by Land's End. I should phone the farmer really, but I can't bear to think that he might not have it, so I need to get a new one. That's my favourite piece of kit, is my umbrella, my ultralight umbrella. But this is a quilt. This is a quilt, and it's the quilt of dreams. Oh, Bill, you shouldn't be moving, darling. No, you've had an operation. Oh, no, Bill. Oh, Bill. Okay, Bill's in his baby growth from his surgery, so he doesn't lick his wound, and he's really disoriented from it. Right, stay there. Okay. Anyway, the quilt of dreams. Yeah, he wanted to get in the quilt. There you go. You sleep in the quilt. He's okay. The quilt's amazing. It's super light, and it is and it's it means that you can throw your legs around a little bit, and you don't have to be in a mummy sleeping bag where your legs get really tight and you can't sleep properly because you've been hiking all day and your legs hurt, so you want to stretch them and move them around a bit and kick, and you can't because they're in a little mummy bag. So quilt's perfect, and it's got elastic straps that you put around, two straps that you attach to your sleep mat, and you scooch them along the elastic band underneath you to tighten the sides of the quilt, so it's not just lying flat. It does snug around you, but you can move as much as you like within it. And I'll talk to you more about that. I've got two different variations. I've got the Revelation, and I've got I think it's another Revelation, but it's a much bigger, fatter one for really cold nights. Different season, like a winter season quilt. Pricey, but really, really, really worth it. I think I was gifted one of those as being one of the Badgers ambassadors for like a force of positivity on the trails. I think I won a US sponsorship from lots of different cottage brands through the trek. And I won that to go and be a representative of eight people, won across the whole of the US, UK, everywhere, all these many people who applied. and I wrote my story, and it was appointed one of the 8 ambassadors, launched, and then it was COVID year, wasn't it? So never got to use any of it, never got to work with all of those brands. So it was a wonderful thing, a prestigious thing to be awarded this scholarship, a hiking scholarship, to be a force for good on trails, and to, we had a whole campaign I'd written out and filming and stuff to do for the year, and then that went down the pooper. So never mind. But I got this lovely quote from it, and the Trek is a really good website who still does things like that. They've launched a brand new one this year. I think was the first one they've done since COVID began. So the timing was terrible, but I'm still very grateful to have been selected. So thanks. And that's a lot of stuff I talked you through. Are there any questions? I get quite excited about this, and I always think I've got nothing to talk about. I don't know what I'll say. Any questions from anyone? Let's see something in the comments, please. Was that interesting? Was it useful, or do you all have your sound off because that's where the state we've gotten into? You don't even know I'm saying goodbye. No, no one's there. I can see you there, really. Okay, so I think if this is useful, I'll do a more deep dive into specific stuff in like a blog post or particular videos I script, so I don't ramble, and put them up on the YouTube. So if you do actually have any comments about things that would be useful to know about, like my shoes, the types of socks I use, how I do foot care. Thanks, Helen. That's really nice of you. Or an overview of what to take nutritionally for a 2-week hike, how to resupply. What order do you pack things in your bag? How do you distribute the weight? How do I choose a good backpack? What's the difference between a tarp and a tent and whatever? Sleeping bag and a quilt. Just let me know and I'll make that stuff for you. Sending you all my love. I definitely need to take care of this sweet boy, who, thank goodness his kidneys are okay though, his blood sugar levels. Yeah, I'm going to take care of him now. And thank you so much for being here, for coming in and spending your evening, an hour of your evening chatting with me or listening to me chat. I genuinely massively appreciate it. It's going to be an every Thursday thing, different topics, different stuff. So if you want to talk about anything particular, tell me and I will. But each week I'll bring in a different topic or a different bit of kit or a different focus or a different bit of feedback, different catch up. It won't always be this long. And I'd love, love, love you to be as involved as you can. Thanks everybody, and take care, and see me over on my channels. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really means a lot. And if you do have the possibility to do so, share the channel, tell your mates to come over and join up. Okay, lots of love and have a great rest of the evening. Bye everybody. Thank you.